All right, Grace, so here's the plan. I drew out a floor plan just to give me a rough idea for where furniture will live, and I'm thinking this would be the perfect spot for the bed. In this chapter, we're talking about selecting and placing furnishings. So furnishings, what I mean by that is your rug, your furniture, and lighting. These are the major furnishings that make up your space. So you have your floor plan, you worked through some ideas on paper, picked out your furnishings, and now it's time to bring it into the room and really see those ideas come to life. I'm so excited about our bedroom. I can't wait to get started, and I hope you're excited too. So when you're selecting your pieces, it may not happen in a linear fashion. You might find that you pick the headboard, and then it's a wardrobe, and then maybe a chair, and then a rug at the end. But for today, when we're bringing it all into the space, we're gonna work from the ground up. We'll start first with the rug, then we'll bring in furniture, and at the end, we'll bring in lighting. In your space, you probably have a mix of large and small furnishings. Get some help, grab a friend. My friend Grace is with me here today. She's gonna help me move in some of these furnishings, and we're going to reference the floor plan and then make adjustments as needed. So I'm excited to bring all of these ideas to life. Let's get started. Okay, so rugs. We're bringing in a rug into our space. We have hardwood floors, and I want something soft on the floor for when we step out of bed. We'll bring in a rug that we had in another room. I think it'll actually work really great in this space. It's a flat weave, which means that it's a really low profile rug and needs a rug pad underneath it. Rug pads are just a practical piece. It will preserve and extend the life of your rug, and in our case, it'll make it a little more cushy and softer underneath. If you don't have a rug in your space or don't plan on adding one, that's perfectly fine. Maybe you have carpeting, and that works just as well. I'm ready to bring my rug into our bedroom and see how it works here in this space. This is the rug that was in our living room. Okay. Right. This is awesome. I actually love the way that this works in this space. I like that our walls are dark and they're this green color, but the rug on the floor is neutral. And what's interesting about it is the pattern. It's a smaller scale pattern. It's this flat weave. Everything is very intricate and detailed, but because it's not floral or overly ornate, it kind of feels modern. And that's exactly what I need. As you're thinking about your rug and making decisions there, reference back the images you gathered early on in your design direction and use that as a filter as you go, because it's really easy to get lost in all of the options. There are so many out there. Another thing to think about with your rug is the placement of it in the room. So I like to run a rug long ways left to right of the bed so that you have lots of room around the perimeter. When you take your feet out of your bed, put them on the floor, there's rug there at your feet. A general rule is for a queen size bed, you want at least 8 by 10 or larger, and then for a king bed, at least a 9 by 13 or larger. So that can obviously adjust based on your particular needs and space, but that's a rule of thumb that I use. So rug is in. I feel really good about it. When I think back to my design direction, this does exactly what I wanted it to. I wanted this space to feel restful and calming, and bringing in a textile like this adds to that. It really adds softness to the space. And I think when I bring in the furniture, it will all start to come together and feel right. So the first thing that I'll start with for furniture is the bed. Our bed is one I am especially excited about. When selecting this bed, I knew I wanted a couple things. Number one, I wanted it to be a statement in the room, and I chose to do that with color and pattern. That's my personal preference. I love color. I like being bold with pattern and mixing things unexpectedly. So this bed has that. The upholstery is this electric blue in a floral pattern. They look like leaves, a canopy of leaves, which really plays to the design direction I established early on. I also like that the bed frame is a very simple, clean line. So it's a mix of traditional and modern in one piece. And I think that'll really work well in our space where I'm trying to bridge those worlds, bringing in a little bit of traditional, bringing in a little bit of modern, a bit of handmade, and then lots of color and pattern. So this is the moment of truth. We're gonna bring the bed into the space and see what it actually looks like. Okay, so the bed is in and I could not be more happy with it. I think it has turned out perfectly in this room. I had that small swatch of fabric, which I was working with early on, and that'll get you to a certain point. I could kind of see what that color would do in here, what the pattern would do. But now that the actual thing is in the room, I really know, yes, this was the right decision, and I am personally really happy with it. So this particular bed frame is a very simple rectangular headboard. All of the lines are very clean and modern, which I like. But the fabric is what's really interesting about it. It's this electric blue color and the foliage pattern. It has kind of a tapestry feel to it. Feels very classic and traditional. And I just love that mix. I love the mix of modern and traditional kind of merging eras. Generally, when you're pairing patterns together, you want to be sure that they're not so similar that they're competing with one another. So this floral pattern with a striped rug works well because they're different. They're not so different that they feel like different looks altogether. They're both kind of detailed. They share this same base ivory color, but they're different enough that I can clearly see this is the statement of the room. This is where the focus is when you walk in the space. And the rug, it's a smaller pattern. It's a little more textural. So it's playing a secondary role. As far as placement goes, I am centering it on the wall here in between the two windows, but I also know I'm gonna add curtains. So I'll float this bed off the wall ever so slightly so those curtains can slip behind it. And that's actually just a good note in general. You don't have to push your furniture right up against the wall. Usually just a little bit of breathing room is helpful. So obviously we have no mattress here yet. We'll get to that. I want to get furniture in first, and then when it's time for bedding, we'll bring in the mattress and make the bed. So bed is in, I feel really good about it, and now it's time to bring in nightstands. Let's see. Around. As I was out shopping for nightstands, I had one thing in mind in particular, and that was the fact that we already have two very specific wood tones in the room. It's our existing dresser and the large wardrobe. So introducing a third wood tone felt like it would just be too much. I wanted to find something in a totally different material, and I actually didn't know what that would be. I just let myself go out, look around, see what was available. So much of design is actually exactly that. It's going out with loose parameters for what you want or don't want, and then letting yourself discover something unexpected. And then I came across these, and I noticed that they have this rounded corner. And all of a sudden it occurred to me, oh, that's actually a really common Art Deco feature to have these large rounded edges. And that fits in with my design direction. Also with this rectangular headboard, with the dresser that's a rectangular piece, there are a lot of square shapes in the room, lots of straight lines. And I just like the idea of changing that up with something that has a soft curve to it so that things don't feel too rigid or stiff. I'm always looking for nightstands that have some amount of storage. I think that storage in a nightstand is incredibly practical. If you think about your bedroom, you want it to be a calm and relaxing place, and nothing disrupts that quite like clutter. So do yourself a favor, get a nightstand that has a small drawer or maybe doors in the front that you can just stow things away in. With nightstands in place, now it's time to bring in our additional storage. So we've got this really large vintage wardrobe and then an existing chest of drawers. I'm gonna get some help bringing those pieces in. They're very heavy. When I was first setting out, thinking about furniture in the space, I knew I would be using this piece. It's a quality piece of furniture. I've had it for a long time, and I like the style of it. It's classic and traditional, but is still relatively simple. This is a very specific wood tone. It's a dark wood, and I love that about it. But then in all of my searching for a wardrobe, which is a very specific kind of furniture, I found this piece, which is very unique and different. And what I like about them together is that they are so different. So one of the challenges you might face as you're selecting storage for your bedroom is wood tone. How do I match things? Does everything need to match, or can things be different? How different do they need to be? For me, I like that these feel dramatically different. This is a very dark wood. This is a honey-colored burl wood. And for those reasons, they feel like unique and distinct pieces. I'm not worried about matching them. Most of the time wardrobes are a much more traditional style, so to find one that has an Art Deco style to it was really unique. I saw this piece, I knew it was right, and it was really just a matter of measuring it out to make sure it would fit our space. Simultaneously, as I was searching for this wardrobe, I was also thinking through our bed. And I was looking at samples. I'd pulled this one sample. It's the blue floral fabric. And I actually noticed that inside of it, there's this sort of brown, light honey color to it. It's the branches of the leaves. And when I put the two together, I thought, oh my gosh, this is great. So here I have this upholstered bed, and it's got a beautiful blue leafy pattern on it, but it has bits of this honey brown, which connects to our wardrobe. So those small connections will be really helpful as you're thinking through furniture purchases. At this point, we have the largest, most important pieces of furniture in the space. That was the bed and the nightstands and now storage. Those are really the essentials for us in our room. Think about your own personal needs and then tailor your furniture selection to meet those needs. It could look entirely different from mine. The most important advice I can give you is to just think practically first, and then to make sure that the aesthetics are working, that things are aligning with the original design direction that you established at the beginning. Thinking back to my floor plan, I did find a few extra spaces in the room that I could add a mirror and a chair. That's great. That completes furniture. I knew I had a few areas in here that felt like they could use something else and decided a chair in this corner would be perfect. Getting ready in the morning, unwinding in the afternoon, and then mirror over here, and it really rounds things out. There's a lot of large furniture in this space, and just to have a few smaller things feels like it balances those larger pieces. I picked this chair because I like the rounded arms, the rounded back. It's kind of softening all of the harder straight-lined furniture that's already in the room. I also like that it's a dark charcoal, almost black. It's tying into the rug. And the fact that it's a velvet, so it feels a little bit fancy, but it's small, practical, and fits in this corner really nicely. So now furniture is placed, and the floor plan really helped with this process. I was able to make decisions ahead of time and then really feel confident when everything came into the room. Now the final layer of furnishings is our lighting. And we already have a fan in the ceiling, so I don't have to worry about that. It's really just decorative lighting on either side of the bed, and then maybe a light over by the chest of drawers. Okay, these are pretty special little lamps. I wanted something with a lot of character that felt very unique and interesting, different from everything else in the room, but not so different that it was jarring to see it in the space. And I feel like these do exactly that. Thinking back to my design direction, I remembered that I had a few purples in that. And as I was out shopping, I saw these lamps with a purple shade and I thought, that's it, that's exactly what I want. This lamp, like a lot of the other pieces in the room, is a great example of thinking about the practical needs of something as well as thinking for the design choice. I knew that I wanted lots of tabletop space, and a wall sconce wasn't an option for us because we have these windows here. So that meant definitely needed a tabletop lamp, but in this case I found one that doesn't take up a lot of the tabletop space. Last piece of lighting in place. When I think about lighting in a room, and this really goes for any space, I like to scatter it around the room. Now in a bedroom, that's going to be really dependent on the type of furniture that you have in your space. Putting light beside your bed is a given, and I highly recommend it. But if there are other opportunities in your room, I would say look for those and see where you can place a small table lamp, floor lamp, something like that. In our case, this chest of drawers was a great opportunity to do that. So that wraps up selecting and placing furnishings in your bedroom. We talked about first rugs, and then furniture, and lastly lighting. Those are the major pieces in your space that are really important to consider. I hope that you've gained some knowledge that helps you feel more confident about this part of the process. So have fun as you start to put together your bedroom.